Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Regulars. I'm Stacey McGonigal.
I'm Jason Ross.
Oh my gosh, you guys, a couple things. Well, we'll get our guest out first, but happy hump day, everyone. And today is, a huge day because Jason and our lovely guest, we are unpacking The Last Dance. We are ready. We are raring to go. Our guest has come so correct. Are you excited, Jason?
Are you kidding me? You got on and you were like, I think you have a boner, is what you literally said to me.
Well, we are professional business here. There is not an HR department here, and so we do start our day by telling happy people that
It's
they
okay.
have boners.
It came from 80-year-old Stacy. It was like, hey, give me that butt.
Hey, all right,
She's so
cute. You got a boner. Someone's happy. They got a boner. So I think we should introduce our guest. You know him, you love him. We adore him here on the pod. He's one of our own. Please welcome everyone, the wonderful, the talented, Nigel Downer, everybody. Now, Nigel.
We just have to capture that sound effect, I think, at one point for Nigel.
The horns?
Heck yeah.
Oh yeah. I downloaded them, but I have to remaster them because they're so loud. There's like, brah, 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 brah. You're like, oh my God. Now, Nigel.
Yes.
We are so happy you're here. The outfit is right.
Listen, guys, I mean, you've known me to do bits on this piece, on this feature. So I mean, today I thought, I come a little correct, dress up a little bit, because we are going into a deep dive. We are going to talk like some 80s, some 90s. So I'm just making sure that I look clean. It's a clean slate.
It's a clean slate. Now, had I known that the turtleneck was a possibility, I would have come. Now, I don't have a jersey, but I did think, and I did say to you guys before we recorded, I thought I would come wearing an icon to at least set the precedent. Jason's wearing a jersey. Of course, he has millions of them. So I came wearing Brittany. Okay. So she's here for me because we're talking about goats today. We're talking about the GOATs. And we had to include her. Right, Jay?
Yeah. And notice too, like Nigel wearing a turtleneck looks so great. Has said, come correct.
Yeah.
I've done both of those things in the last week. Well, I didn't wear a turtleneck, but I said, come correct. Everyone was like, you sound like an idiot. And two,
yeah,
picture me in a turtleneck and try not to be like, what the hell are you doing with your life?
I think Nigel could find you a turtleneck that would work.
I don't think so.
We do some searching, man. I think our best bet would probably be, the vintage place. Maybe vintage probably would be the best for you.
Yeah.
You know how they say like sometimes if you leave a tin can too long, it gets like it starts to blow up in the middle. Well, that would be like the turtleneck on me would be like the gas would just be like. Whoop.
I think we would all agree that we've never heard, hey, don't leave that tin can too long. The middle might burst.
That's because you didn't go to science class long enough.
That's true. So speaking of science class, I would be remiss if I didn't just give a proper shout out to one of my best pals. It is her birthday today. She has been with us in the chat since we began the journey of the regulars. Audrey in the chat. It is her birthday. One of my best of best. Been to all my SC shows. Been such an inspiration. Katie, I know it's your birthday too. Happy birthday. Audrey, I don't know. I'm sure you're like having a mimosa, like 3 sheets to the wind. But if you're here in the chat, I love you and happy birthday.
She's a teacher.
She's a teacher. She's an advocate. She's a renegade. She reminds me to vote every year and where to go. She's just truly a unicorn. How she's friends with this dirtbag, I'll never know. But anyway,
she knows you need guidance, man.
She knows I need guidance.
It's the laws of like living on the same street, because when you're a kid, you're forced to have friends because you just live on the same street and you can't leave that street.
We didn't live on the same street.
Then you're one lucky lady.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Okay. So, anyways, guys, if you're watching the stream, I don't know if you are, I have 2 different viewpoints. We have the 3 vertical, and then sometimes we're going to transition into this 3. Now, everyone let me know what you prefer, and that's what we'll go to. Ooh, but do we want to just hop in?
Yeah. I mean, today, we're talking about The Last Dance. We definitely should just jump in because this could take the entire time.
It's going to.
For sure.
Okay. Now, I'll say I'm a band. I've jumped on the bandwagon. I've jumped.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now I like sports, but like I'm not going to pretend that like I know the facts that you guys know. So I'm really going to let you guys lead the way and just ask as many questions as possible.
Hey, I'll say this too. Like the term bandwagon means you just start following a team because they're winning. This is you just jumping on the history of the story. This is you watching Young and the Restless, but like Kelly Ripp is still on it. And you're like, these are good years. I'd be like, yeah.
I mean, I don't know that analogy, but for sure. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, Nigel,
I might have the wrong show, but she was definitely on a soap opera. Maybe it was Another World, but I think
no, you're correct. But it's interesting that you think that that's my storyline to really grab onto
no,
the
that's
soap
my
opera.
storyline,
and there it is too. So this is
I do think that this is like The Last Dance is that reality show for sports mongers that just can't have their sports right now, can't have something new and fresh.
That's so
new
true.
and fresh, only because we know how the story's going to end. We know what unfolds in the middle, but we don't know some of those gritty details. But it's just intriguing, man, to see all these personalities. It's just a fun watch, and it looks gorgeous.
It's reliving things. It's almost like, you go back and you're like, I didn't think of it for a long time. So even when they retell some stuff, you're like, oh my God, I forgot that Dennis Rodman like left for 3 days. Like that's awesome. Just to be really being like, oh yeah, he dated Carmen Electra.
He dated
and Madonna.
He got his voice through Madonna.
Yeah.
She said,
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. And then he started saying what she was saying to him. Let that freak flag just fly. And he did.
Immediately, yeah. He went off.
Okay.
I'll say this, like Dennis Rodman, because I know we're going to talk about.
Do we want to go episode through episode, or do we want to just generally talk about it? Because I'm happy to let it flow either way.
I'll say this: I can't lead the conversation if it's episode to episode because I don't even remember. I watched this like when the second it came out, and I don't know what happened when in the documentary.
Okay. I will say Dennis Rodman makes me sad. I have an empathy for him. He lived outside. Well, he's not the best guy, but he lived outside.
Yeah, for
years. Like one of his teammates said to him, I can't remember the name, but one of his teammates was saying, I was watching it last night, that Rodman would be like, hey, don't you just want to go back to the simple life where you're like sleeping outside and cooking your own food? And everyone's like, what? But like, yeah, but
that wasn't him like being homeless. He was brought up in was it like a suburban home or something like that? Like he was brought up as just like it wasn't like, oh no, poor him. I mean, like, I can't remember. My memory is terrible.
He said he grew up not in a good situation, and then his mom just stopped wanting to like care for him.
Well, he got kicked out of his house.
Yeah.
High school, whatever, but he got into school and just started kicking ass at ball, right? His living situation, wasn't great, but he was saying that, correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, but he lived in not in the ghetto. Like he didn't live in a ghetto or anything like that. So that's also not so much like indicative of what the ballers are coming from. Some of the ballers are coming from. Usually they're coming from a tough situation.
Totally. Oh, then I misunderstood.
I mentioned this the other day.
Sorry, I misunderstood then. I thought he was, like he came from a really rough upbringing, and I was like, oh my God, he's just looking for family. And this is why he like went crazy when he got traded from Detroit, because his family was
he is looking for family. He's a lost child for sure.
He has that feeling.
Peter Pan's Lost Boys for sure.
He gives me a Pete Davidson sort of feel, where we're just kind of watching.
I said that during the documentary.
Don't you think, Nige? Like you're kind of kind of watching this, like, not train wreck, but you're just watching someone trying to find their legs.
Well, he's got a gangly Pete Davidson body, and he talks about suicide all the time. Like it's Pete Davidson.
And I think you're right, Stace. Maybe just a little heavy on the train wreck side, just a little. But I mean, I think you're right though, because there were some years where he was just like, once he went to San Antonio after his Detroit stint, like he was just a hot mess, man. Because he showed up, Demolition Man came out, was this 89, I think it was, and then he had like this mohawk, this blonde brohawk, man, which is wild.
Yeah, his piercings give me pause. They just look thick.
That was like mid-90s around then when he was on San Antonio.
He's just interesting to me.
Yeah, 92.
But and if you read his biography, like I was a big fan of his back when he was on Detroit. So like I grew up I followed nicknames because I was a kid. So like my first favorite was Dr. J, and then all of a sudden Magic Johnson comes around. You're like, well, I'm watching Magic Johnson. But then the Bad Boys came around. I was like, the Worm, the Microwave, hell yes. So I had the Worm shirt, which was Dennis Rodman.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But like then you read his biography, and he was like, I think it was when Detroit won the championship. He spent the night in his truck with a shotgun that night. I know they said it in the documentary as well, but I think like it was the night they won the championship or something. He was like, I'm gonna kill myself. Like, what is all this?
Whoa.
Just crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts.
That is nuts.
Excuse me for a second. Just speaking of hairstyles, I just need to.
Oh yes. Okay, let's see. If he pulls out a wig, I'm gonna lose my mind. Yes.
You know,
Is this Harriet? What was the character's name?
You know, just want to make sure. There you go. Right.
Oh my God, I'm obsessed with this. I love this so much.
This is your AC Green or something.
Yeah. This might, you know, if we're digging into the 80s kind of thing, this is.
We absolutely are. This is incredible.
Yeah, I mean, this spans decades, though. I mean, this can go like, you know, 60s, 70s, 80s. You know, it can go around there.
You got your AC Green on, and I've got my Jeff Hornacek.
I don't get any of these references, and that's what's fun about it. You know what I mean?
It's like every player on the Utah Jazz except for Karl Malone had my haircut.
Someone just said he is. What is this? Oh yeah, Shauna says you're setting the vibe, and absolutely without question. And that's just Nigel's general mo. He's just always setting the vibe.
Stacey, you said you had a lot of questions before we came on about
I do
this documentary. Why don't we get into some of those? We could start maybe with deep diving into some Stacey questions.
Yeah, and before we do that, I think we should just make sure that just so everybody's on board that The Last Dance is a 10-part documentary. Just to recap, it's a 10-part documentary about the 97-98 Bulls, and is their last run at getting a second three-peat. So they won a three-peat.
Did they do it? We don't know.
We don't know. We don't know.
You know what's crazy?
Did the boat sink? It's Titanic. I don't know.
I actually don't know. And I refuse to Google it. I'm Googling.
We're not going to spoil that. Don't worry.
I'm Googling other stuff, you know, which I said, you know, I said to the guys, I was like, can I ask these questions? Like, would it be like taboo? And you said ask away, so I shall.
Great.
Okay, a couple of things I just want to bring up. How are we thinking? How's everyone feeling about everyone's aging process? Because I got some strong opinions on some of the boys here. Scottie Pippen, stunning.
We've heard your Scottie Pippen love. Last week you really deep dove into like.
Yeah. Now
Scottie Pippen.
One of the players who's big interviewing a lot. He was in Detroit with Rodman. Who's that guy? That
John Sally?
Maybe, yes. He's aged really well too.
The Spider.
He was called the Spider?
That knows all the nicknames.
Look, Detroit was all nicknames, man.
Detroit is
Microwave passes it to the Worm. The Worm passes it to Spider. Like that was like literally what happened.
It's just really crazy to me how Detroit got away with that stuff. Wait, was John Sally the guy in the 3-piece suit?
No,
Sally just had a T-shirt on.
Oh yeah. Then it's Sally is who I was like, oh wow, he's really aging great. I love the coach of Chicago.
Doug Collins.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That guy's great.
Who sweat through everything.
That
everything.
guy. Who's the guy who took over then? Pete or I'm really bad at these names.
Are you talking about Phil Jackson?
Phil Jackson, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I like him. But the guy, Doug, what are you laughing at?
Because it's funny because like if we were like, you know, pop music, who's that guy? That girl, she danced a lot. She looks like Marilyn Monroe.
Oh, yeah,
do you mean Madonna?
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, I'm new to this, and I feel like a lot of people listening is also new to this. So
it's totally, it still is funny.
Oh, it's totally funny. I'm an idiot. I like that there was some clips of them like meditating and doing like just like sun salutations, and I was so down for that whole vibe.
Phil Jackson's known for being Zen. So Phil Jackson, just so you get like a feel of who he is, he obviously coached Jordan through a bunch of championships, but then he moved over and was like, cool, now I'm going to do the Lakers. So like when Shaq and Kobe were going through it too, that was also Phil Jackson coaching him,
Wow.
because he's known not for like his X's and O's necessarily, even though the triangle was kind of, he brought that in through his assistant coach, but like he was just known for being able to hold on to big personalities and be like, you guys can play together, and he sorts out the drama sort of.
See,
even though
because
it didn't really work with Shaq and Kobe.
here's the thing, because we all love Michael Jordan. We're loving him. His skill is unlike anyone's. I don't think he was a great guy.
Oh, probably he was like just competitive to a point of like, you don't want to hang out with this guy.
Yeah, competitive to the point of a lack of humanity.
He would tell people he's going to beat the crap out of them, and then he would go to their locker room afterwards and be like, you guys were shit talking the whole time. You guys want to fight? I'll fight you right now, and I'll win.
That's just like next level.
He's just competitive. There's no other thing to it. Like his whole life is like, I'm going to beat you at everything.
Yeah, because this is the thing that I find really cool about this docu-series, and especially like sports in general, which I loved playing. But I think the thing that I didn't get in my mind, which I think limited my success in that, was that you can get better because it's all technical. Like, do you know what I mean? Like Rodman was like, oh, I kind of was like this player, but then I realized if I just like did this or moved here or made myself available there or like studied the math of the game, I can get better. Which I was like, that's crazy.
It's crazy because you got to remember, like, these guys playing basketball too are like, I mean, they're looking up to people at that point of like Magic Johnson and things like that, who are not necessarily X's and O's players. They're called Showtime, right? So it's like, they all for sure are students of the game and study because they are where they're at. But it wasn't like sit down and practice just rebounding. Like Dennis Rodman was kind of an anomaly in that way, where it's like, I'm just going to study rebounding and be the best rebounder. And then he was, because nobody else was, probably not many people were doing that.
Yeah. But you got to remember, there's also that thing, like that little thing in their brain that tells them to go even harder, to push even harder. You know what I mean? That they are on this earth. And Jordan even says it in the first, I think, like 15 minutes of the doc of episode 1, you know, to strive to be the best. Like there's a question, I believe, that a reporter asks him, and he just says he wants to put Chicago on the map. He just wants to make sure that, you know, he can bring some championships and just do the best he can. And there's that thing that pushes him, and there's that thing that pushes everybody. Like Rodman, I don't want to use the word crazy, but Rodman crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's
like,
eccentric. There's something going on with him where he needs to blow off steam, which just means like doing allegedly. But
I love.
Go ahead.
And I love
it's
that.
Not alleged.
Yes.
No, but
I also love the idea that at the very beginning of the doc, where they're introducing the cast of characters, and you know, it's like Michael Jeffrey Jordan goes through his thing, you're like, oh, okay, sick, shows a highlight reel, and then it's like Scotty, what is it, like, not Eugene, but Scotty something, Pippen, he says his first, like, middle and last name, shows some stuff about him. Then it goes to Dennis Rodman's like, Dennis Rodman, what's up? That's it. Like, just that's it. He's just like, Dennis Rodman, what's up? It's almost like that Key and Peele sketch, like the football player.
That football player sketch from Key and Peele is insane.
Oh, it's the best.
But Rodman's just like, I don't think he's like simple. Like, I don't think he's just like a straightforward guy. Like, there's just a swagger about him where he like just doesn't give a shit. Well,
at that point, you're dating Carmen Electra, you've dated Madonna, like,
which
so
we had to remind you, by the way, calling me out, referencing Madonna and forgetting that. Nigel, don't forget what
I
happens
didn't forget that he dated
before we
Madonna,
hit record. Okay.
I didn't forget that he dated Madonna. What I'm saying is, like, this guy's got like millions and millions of dollars. I think he really was like, fire me. What's the worst that could happen?
I know, but that makes me feel like, I'm like, why is, like, he obviously struggles with like a lot of like mental health issues, and it was just like so sad. But what was crazy to me, and sorry, I was saying how like if you just study the math of it, you'll be successful, and then Mark says you can say the same for comedy, no? I mean, you can get better. I think reps in comedy just make you less precious, so then you're less scared to make a choice, but you know.
It's weird because Jameson also asked the question, because we were talking about like the competitive nature and all that other kind of stuff. It was because Gretzky was probably like the hockey Jordan, and like, do you
Right.
think he had that? And I'm like,
Yes.
no.
You don't think so?
I think so.
No.
Are you
He
crazy?
had it for sure.
Of
For sure,
course.
dude.
If you see an interview with Gretzky, he'll just start to cry and be like, I don't know, everything's the greatest. And Michael Jordan's like, I'm gonna murder you all. Who's up?
Well, this is the thing. Like, I think there's something to be said because nowadays, regardless of what you're interested in, sports, arts, whatever, you can't be focused on just one thing. Like there's something powerful in Michael Jordan being like, I'm going to be good at basketball. That's it. Like this razor sharp focus.
I think there is that for all, like, for most of the greatest people. It's why it's like we talked about rods and ponds, and it's like, do we put too many rods and too many ponds? Because
first of all, you said
honesty,
rods
like,
in pods.
A lot of industries, it's like, do you think
Nigel,
Bill Gates
please.
did much other than like he dropped out of school and was like, I'm just focusing on building this empire?
I think Bill Gates was like, I'm going to build a computer so good that like I think he was just like, computers. I want to have sex with a computer. Like, I think that's his whole vibe. Computers.
Steve Jobs the same. It was like, I think the people that are like that become the most elite are probably pretty focused on one singular thing for the most part.
No, I disagree.
And
I
think they also question themselves too, like, what if? So what if ... Like, what if I am the greatest? What if I become the best at this?
And to be honest, I think a lot of those people are not like, it's not a what if to most of them, because for Jordan it was never what if. It was like,
true.
I'm going to be the greatest, and then it's Stacey's start to like envision it, and it'll come true.
But do you think that that's what like would limit? Like, do you think that limits us is like a sense of empathy towards ourselves? Like, do you think because we have humility? No, but honestly, like, this is a thought that I had.
I was laughing at Jameson. Jameson agrees with me about Wayne Gretzky, but he's like, unless Wayne's a sociopath, which he might be.
There has to be an aspect of that. Like when everyone was like, Pippen is so talented. Like, Pippen is like adored. He's great. The thing he lacked was Jordan's drive. And I'm like, is Jordan's drive healthy? I don't know.
I disagree a little bit. Like,
I disagree
Pippen was
too.
named one of the 50 best players on the 50th anniversary, which is completely deserved. But there is that question of like, if he wasn't put with Jordan, where Jordan was like the way he is in practice, like say he was put on another team, and I don't know if Pippen would have been the Pippen. Like, he was amazing, drafted 5th. So he was ready to be a good player, but like, I don't know if he would have got a 50th best player ever. And maybe he would have. He's amazing on defense. He's amazing in so many ways. But there is that like competitive nature that if Jordan's yelling at you practicing, telling you to get better, it's like, that was his mentality put on Pippen.
Okay, so let's think about it this way then. Bring it to the modern era.
Please.
Modern era.
This is where it's gonna get real.
Modern.
Question. So if, like, can you, and I'm not comparing the skill, I'm not comparing the championships, but I am comparing the idea of a duo. When we talk about Kyle Lowry, right, and DeMar DeRozan, in the same aspect, when Toronto had great runs before the championship run that did not have DeRozan in it, would you say what's their 1 and 2 dynamic like? What was their 1 and 2 dynamic like? You know what I mean? Like, so because Lowry excelled and won the championship that next year, is DeRozan the Pippen, or was it vice versa until DeRozan left? You know what I mean?
Are you asking me?
Of course. Oh no, he's asking me.
It was directed to Stacey. So go ahead, Karen.
Well,
I'll say this.
The thing I'd like to say about Lowry, tough last name. It seems weird in the mouth to me. Larry. No, Jason is doing his little karaoke sway. I'm just kidding.
No, I'm doing Mom's Spaghetti.
Wow. No, go ahead, Jay. I'm interested in your interpretation of that.
I think that's a great question, but I think that's apples and oranges because especially the first 3 years around, you can say, well, look at all the people that Jordan had, but he really didn't have a deep bench. And it took Jordan like 7 years to win a title because he had nobody. Lowry and DeRozan, look, what made the Raptors great is almost like a later Pistons team where it was like this team dynamic. When the Pistons had Rip Hamilton and Chauncey Billups and Rasheed and all these amazing players, they didn't have like a Michael Jordan on that team, even though, like, you know, they were all stars or whatever. But It's the same with Toronto. I don't think you can go DeRozan and Lowry are Jordan and Pippen because you had so many supporting players that were also killing it. So when you replaced DeRozan with Leonard, there was also a replacement of a coach, which really helped out. I think that he just modified Dwayne Casey's stuff and made it a bit stronger.
Totally.
I just think it's so. Like, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I don't think there's a comparison between Jordan and Pippen with Lowry and either DeRozan or Kawhi Leonard. Like if there is, obviously Kawhi Leonard's the Jordan to Kyle Lowry's Pippen. But the reason why it's not the same is because like Scottie Pippen came into the situation where Jordan was like, "You're gonna get better," and I'm because in practice I'm gonna like whip you into shape. Like,
right.
But
Kawhi didn't do that to Lowry. Lowry's already a fucking bulldog.
Is it even worth debating that fact? I mean, like, doesn't it all come down? And I think the specialness of this crew, and I again know nothing except this documentary, truly. But I was like, oh, this was like a special moment of chemistry. Like even like, like there was like, and I just sound like an idiot saying this stuff, but like watching some of these moves, like Rodman just chucking the ball almost blind to Jordan, like it's just like some of this stuff is unexplainable. And I can only relate it to like moments on stage where you're like, there's just some people who get it and you get it with them and you're on this like unspeakable level. Like when they ask Pippen, like, how'd you accept Rodman? And he was like, how did Rodman fit in? And he goes, like a glove. And I was like,
like a hand in the glove.
Hand in the glove. I was like, oh. Okay. My
but
pants
he really did
exploded.
He did something that none of the other guys did. Like
No, but he joined the crew and they're like, we get him. He does his job. And so he can stay. Like, we love him. Like, it's chemistry. So, like, is it worth, and I know, like, you go into, like, a sports bar, and these are the conversations everyone's having, but, like, are you going to get an explanation? Like, are you going to get an answer? Because you're not, because you can't even imagine.
I think the big conversations that people have in this, that are people that watch basketball, is that GOAT conversation. And this comparisons to, like, you kind of, like, hand down the baton of, like, it went from, you know, I won't go too far back, but like Magic and Larry kind of passed it to Jordan, and they were like, Jordan, they kind of passed it to Kobe, debatably. And then it went to LeBron, and now everyone's like, well, it's generational of like, who's the best out of all of them? And does it matter on championships you've won? Does it matter on all these other things? And that's when it gets into like the nuance of like, what are you fighting for? And then you know where the generation of people come from too, because normally you pick the person that you're like, well, that was my generation of basketball. But
right. Here's a little.
I mean, it does hardware. There is something to be said about hardware because you're playing for that hardware, man. You're playing for that trophy. Oh, sorry. Hold on a second.
Hold on 1 second.
This was him feeding himself into an awesome costume change.
Oh, I'm going to do it one more time. For those listening, there is a transition happening. Oh, my God.
Then, you know, when you become a champion, you know, you get to wear stuff. You know what I mean? You get to walk around. You get to do whatever you want to do because you've earned the right to do that. You know what I mean?
That's so small. Is that a Larry O'Brien with wings, or is that an eagle on the end of there?
Sorry, what?
Is that...
You meant this right here?
Oh my God.
It's an eagle. Okay,
it's
great.
An eagle. Yeah, it's a bald eagle.
Yeah. We're talking about this.
Oh, we're talking about that.
Right here?
I would like to talk about that.
We're talking about after we win championships. You know, it's you know, there's something about the swagger. You got to win championships, and that's how you can get into that conversation.
I would like to. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I
think championships is the thing.
100%. And here's the thing. I'm. Oh, there's Vic. Thank you. I am so like gold star motivated that like I would have been a great athlete. Like I just want that trophy. Like Michael Jordan holding that trophy was emotional. But then I just thought, I bet you that next day was sad for him because like he got it, and we have to move on. Do you know what I mean?
Then he's like, then I think I'm gonna win 10 because like there are players that have won 10. Like Bill Russell won 10, so it's like I got to catch that. But then, so one of these things that we're talking about, which probably helps define Michael Jordan in my mind, it's like, I think they'll get into this. They have to get into the dream team eventually. Like they're going to do that during this.
I think they do a little nod to it.
They have to, because so the dream team, if you don't know, was
of course
they all of a sudden let NBA players into the playing basketball in the Olympics. So all of a sudden you've got this team, because America was really the only time not the only country, but like the major country playing and excelling in basketball.
Okay.
So they send like Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Patrick Ewing, Charles Barkley, Christian Laettner, but all these players over to play in the Olympics, and they murder everybody.
Do you see how happy Jason is just talking? I
love it.
And I've seen him talk about his son, his wife, career success.
But
this,
it's also like it's so grinding too, because it's like people are like, because I think it's the LeBron love, because like, so he's on a dream team. They had like a renaissance of a dream team, and he went over too. But the difference is this: so like Michael Jordan goes over there with Magic Johnson, who's supposed to be like the king of everything, and Larry Bird, and all these great guys. And they have scrimmages where they beat the hell out of each other. They want to beat everybody, but then when they get in the locker room, they're all like, "This is awesome. This is so great. We're all friends." But when I get back, you're all dead.
Yeah.
And then LeBron James's dream team, they go over, they get on a banana boat, they all party up, and they're like, "Hey guys, when we get back, do you guys all want to play on the same team and just beat everybody up? You guys want to be big bullies?" And that's what happened.
I was going to say, yeah, that's exactly what happened.
So he went back and he took any great player, because the East was so weak at the time, and he took Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade, and he played with those guys, and that was basically his only competition. So he just cruised to championships. I know that's going to, if people that are listening to basketball, be like, no, there's a lot more to it than that. But like, there's a difference between Jordan and LeBron in that sense.
But like, I guess the argument can be made that like the Bulls really turned around when they started like passing the ball to other people, when it wasn't just on Jordan to be the best. Like when they talk about packs being open in that one I almost said show, Jesus fucking Christ.
But you did say Pax, which is pretty great, because I don't even think other people shorten his name to Pax.
Jordan does.
Does he?
Yeah, he kept saying Pax got the ball. Pax was open. And I was like, hell yeah. And I was just like, hell yes, Jordan. Way to see that your boy Pax, this white man who looks like an accountant, going to sell you a house with an unfinished basement. He's open. Let him just get a couple shots. But the pressure for me that like gave me like just full panic attacks was like, there's nothing scarier to me than Michael Jordan passing me the ball and me having to deliver.
Oh, yeah. Because if you didn't, he would stand outside his own locker room after and be like, "Let's fight."
Oh yeah. Well, you saw what happened when he was on the bench with Rodman, and so just during a timeout, and there was like 2 seats between them. I think this was in that 97-98 season, and so they're talking. This is when Pippen's out, and the shorthand that those two have is wild.
Oh, Pippen and Jordan.
No,
I know,
Jordan
because I was like,
Rodman.
Oh,
that was a great clip.
Say that was amazing.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that was amazing because it really gave you insight into how those two operated and how Jordan saw the game, like how he saw things happening and unfolding. But it was just this crazy shorthand that was wild to watch.
I thought you were talking about, it was in one or two documentary, like episode 1 or 2, where they cut to the bench and they had just won like that championship in like Paris or something like that. Just whatever.
Yeah.
And I can't remember who the guy was, but he's like, it was his first time winning, and they're like high-fiving, and he turns to Jordan, he's like, "It doesn't count." And he's like, "We won. Just give me a hug or something." He goes, "No, man, let's get home and play some more basketball."
Speaking of Paris, please hold.
Okay, I'm sorry. I've got a full.
I don't even know how Paris fits into this, and I didn't feed him Paris.
Oh my God.
This is a Public Enemy video.
Yo, they went to Paris for that invitational tournament at the beginning of the season.
Oh my God.
And they cleaned up. It was hilarious.
This is amazing.
Jordan, "Hey Jordan, so how's your French?" He's like, "It's not good, but I'll be fine." Like, yeah, of course you will.
Yeah. Don't you feel like I could see Michael Jordan going, "Oh, okay, we're going to Paris," and then he just like fully learns the language in 2 days. He wills it into his brain. Oh my God. People are loving these changes, and I now have a full screen. So whenever you feel inclined to add, we will be there to accommodate.
Okay, yeah. Perfect.
Now, I will say, where is your stance? And this is an old episode, and we sort of talked about this on the last pod, but I'd be curious what you think, Nigel, about Scottie Pippen's like need to like take a pause, and he kind of did that like screw you to the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
I was for it. Jordan seemed over it because he has no empathy and his guy was getting screwed and he didn't care. But were you like, where do you sit on that?
Oh man, that's a tough one. I kind of I see both sides. If I'm going to be firm and just pick one, I think I'm with Pippen, man. I think I'm like, you know what, company time. Like, I'm playing for this team. Let them fix me up. You know what I mean? Let them fix me up. Get it done. I understand what Jordan's saying. Jordan was hella pissed though. He was crazy pissed about it.
So pissed.
But listen, yeah.
My favorite was when they would ask, when the press would be like, Jordan, what do you think about Pippen? And he's like, well, I'm tired of answering it, really. Just over it. And I was like, but Rod.
And they're like, cool. But what do you think about him though? Seriously.
And he's like, ugh. But I thought it was really awesome to see, like, first of all, there's nothing more terrifying again for me than a knock, and Michael Jordan's on the other side of the door and he's like, what the fuck are you doing? And I'm like, I'll be better. Like, I just would, whatever you want. When he did that to Rodman, when he was like, get your shit together. And Rodman's like, you'll need to tell me once. And I was like, hell yeah, only once.
Except Rodman went to his door. And
Yeah. And was like, I'm going to get my shit together. But
it was crazy the way that they both were like, speaking of the shorthand, he went to his door and knocked on it. He was like, do you have a cigar? And he's like, here you go. And he left. And both of them were like, well, we knew that was an apology and it would never happen again.
Yeah, they didn't even talk about it. Like, they didn't even talk about it. Robin just went in, cigar, puff, pass, and then walked out. And then that was it.
But I feel like there's something, and like, this is me being like a lame, like whatever, but like there is that camaraderie, that unspoken thing of like you needing to show up. And it made me a bit sad. Obviously, I love Scottie Pippen. He is aged beautifully.
Very well.
I feel like this doc is going to put a resurgence of love to Scottie Pippen. I truly believe, but maybe it was always there. But like when he came back, I felt really kind of sad for Rodman because then they said he seemed kind of pissed. A little. Is that true?
He's literally got those problems where it's like he had a bigger brother all of a sudden, and then
and then Jordan's like, "Oh, bye."
It's just childhood mentality of like, well, now I've got to share my focus.
The director, because I'm listening to Jalen Jacoby, on ESPN's 30 for 30. Anyway, so nice little plug there. I don't know why I did that.
No, let's plug them. They're watching. They're plugging. You got 30 for 30.
Yeah, they do a great breakdown of the thing. Anyways, so the director was talking about how first of all, Rodman was 2 hours late to meet up and talk. And then when Rodman got there and they're in the elevator, apparently Rodman's like, yo, so what's this for again? The director's like, yo, dude, it's a 10-part documentary on Jordan and on you guys, on the Bulls that season. He's like, oh, okay.
He's like, I already did one. It's called The Bad Boys. It's done.
Yeah, like what? So that's where he's at now.
If you want to know about actual NBA culture and what happens behind the scenes, listening to Jalen Rose is probably the best way to go because that guy doesn't give an F either. He's just like, oh no, this is what actually happens behind the scenes when you're a basketball player.
Yeah. Oh, and you know what? Jalen Rose also he's a very stylish man. Excuse me.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Here we go. All right. And we have something happening. I feel like I'm hit. Oh my God. That's the damn look.
I'm waiting for the piece de resistance, and I'm hoping to heck that Nigel has brought.
First of all, how dare you not call each look a piece de resistance?
They're all art. They're all art.
It's all coming. Art.
I can feel it.
And I don't know if it is, man.
Oh no. This is still so
Nigel,
great.
all you would need to do is just put on one other thing, and Jason will be like, oh my God, that's it. First of all, this is unrelated, but I am trying desperately to get Nigel to start a style Instagram. And listen, we need it. I need it. I just watched 3 house tours last night of beauty influencers who have mansions because they tell women to buy creams. Okay. This could be our ticket, your ticket.
Wait a second.
I'm just saying, if we transitioned during quarantine separately, I'm going to push you into style. Oh, Nigel, you need it. You need it.
Done.
I'll be your first like and subscribe. God damn it.
Done. It's happening.
You could do a photo just with this, you know. This I'm full mom now. You know, you could get outside, good lighting.
Mom.
Show him your body. Just show him a bit.
Mama.
And that's how we got the extra bathroom. But okay, speaking of style though, what was with everyone's like Michael Jordan in huge jeans? First of all, I loved his 90s vibe of like honestly, the size of his suit jackets was probably a duvet for a child, easily.
So ridiculous.
Big. Yeah. But like the what did you guys think about now seeing these like huge icons getting interviewed talking about the good old days? Is Jordan in Miami? His house.
I don't know, but I for sure asked when I saw the palm trees outside and stuff. I'm like, I don't know where he is now.
It's all like white marble, and he has a huge cigar on the table with a massive
I'll say this,
cup of whiskey.
So his passion is golf. So I'm guessing he's like maybe
Florida.
like North Carolina or like.
He might be back in North Carolina or something. And plus, they might have shot it somewhere else too, right? Like it might not actually be his spot. Yes. It probably is.
I bet you it is. I don't think he's going anywhere to talk about it. I also loved. What did you think of the style though? The huge jeans and like the Hanes T-shirt. I was like, Michael, what are you doing?
It's crazy. Like the style is so. I remember wearing big, like just looking. I've never been more than a large ever, ever. And I remember looking at XL stuff all the time. Like just is it big enough? Is it big enough? Just where the shoulder seam is not on your shoulder. It's like down here.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's on your elbow.
Yeah, exactly. it's and their suits were just massive. But those are top of the line suits. Those were like Armani's and stuff. And they were 4 times as big as they were.
But don't you wish like Jordan
if you see
showed
it,
up?
Like Shaq is still. They just have to like. I think as Taylor gave up a long time ago. It was like I don't know. Here's a.
Yeah, Shaq still lives in the 80s.
It's just sheets. Like it's beautiful, expensive bed sheets just like turned into a coat.
But I think that but seeing Michael Jordan now, and I was kind of talking to you guys about this, he doesn't look great. Like there's something going on with him. So like I said to you guys before the podcast, if I was allowed to talk about it as if you're his keepers, what was it? What were the sniffers? The jock sniffers? His security team?
Oh yeah,
the Sniff brothers. Yeah. The Sniff
Those
brothers.
Guys are idiots.
First of all, the guy with the curly wig, mullet, the white guy,
was the best. But I'll say this. I think that was just that guy, and he thought he had the best bit in the world, and he pushed it like crazy in front of the camera, and everyone was like,
yeah, it looked uncomfortable. Jordan was like, just leave. But like, so now Michael Jordan, so he never drank, but he was a gambler. You can tell even in the foot, like everyone owed him money. Someone was giving him money. He owed someone money. So was he always a gambler?
Yeah.
Sorry, you go ahead.
No, you go, Jay. You go.
I was going to just say that there's rumors that the baseball season was David Stern had asked him to step away because of gambling debts and possibly betting on his own games. So he's like, get away from basketball for 2 years, chill out, and then we'll see after this blows over as a story.
Oh, wow.
And that's why you were talking before the podcast too about like, they say it wasn't that he killed his father. It's that like the rumor was, and it's already been like, it's more than likely debunked, but it's like the bad people killed his father because of gambling debts or something.
So was his father a gambler too?
No, but like, well, I don't know if his father was or not, but it was like, oh, here's payback. Oh, give us your money.
Yeah.
But again, this is all just rumors that I think have been debunked completely.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a crazy time. I remember when that happened, man. Like Jordan was a hot mess. I mean, there is that time too in the doc where I think it's episode 2, when he gets his major injury, and then he can and uses the analogy, the physio guy uses the analogy. He's like, hey man, if I give you 10 pills, if I said 10 or 9 of these pills could heal you, but 1 could kill you, or 9 would kill you. I can't remember which way it was.
I think it was 9 would be great, but 1 could kill you. What would you
1
take?
could kill you. Yes. Thank you very much.
And
Jordan was like, well, my answer was how much is the headache pain? Like, how much does the pain hurt?
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that sums it up, man.
But that's the thing that's kind of.
But Jordan would be like, 9.5 of these could kill you, and he'd be like, give it to me.
Well, yeah, because that's
just
yeah, he takes them all.
I'll take all of them. Let's go.
Yeah, he spits. He goes, and it's just the one that would kill, and then he just throws a half-court shot. But like the thing about Jordan that watching it, I was like, oh, once he's done competing, like the idea of him retiring, I'm like, there's no road but down, because how do you fill that void of competition and winning and validation? Like with a win, he did good that day.
Well,
With
you
a
come
loss,
back
he
after
did bad.
retirement, you lose poorly, and then you become a GM and you lose even worse.
Is that what he did?
Man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that when he started drinking? When did he start drinking? While he was playing? There's no way.
I don't know about his drinking habits. Like you can tell, like he definitely likes his whiskey in front of this camera. He's always like cigars, but I don't know his drinking habit.
Have you guys seen? You guys have seen the pitcher-sized jug of whiskey?
I mean, iced tea.
Put a big old ice cube in there. It's begging for it. That's warm.
Yeah, it's just been sitting there for a long time.
Oof. And yeah. Anyways, so he's a big boozer, big gambler. Almost killed his dad. Allegedly. But seeing him, like just seeing his face revealed in that first episode, I was like, this man's lived a life, and a lot of it's probably not great.
Yeah, or vice versa.
Great.
No, like great, but like I mean, like it's like I mean, like their lives, you know, like because they paint it like he would go in and see the Bulls, and they'd be like doing coke and like with chicks, and like he would be like, I'm gonna leave, I'm gonna go drink my 7-Up. But I was like, when did that change? When did he become a little sinful?
Oh,
I don't think it was during his playing days. It's got to be after he retired.
But what was his gambling thing?
Well, he's always been a gambler. I think it's just a competitive nature, and that was one of the things he competed with.
When did this gambling thing become a big story? Like right before he did baseball?
When he left you have to think it's like, I don't even know how to like find an analogy for this, but it was like,
please don't.
Well,
no, I'm kidding. So it's Days of Our Lives, and
no, well, it's Real Housewives of New York, and all of a sudden it explodes, and it's season 3, and they just get picked up, so their contracts are going to get re-upped to big amounts, and you become superstars, and then Dorinda goes, I'm out of here, and you're like, why? What are you going to do? Like, why are you leaving? Not to do another show or anything, just I'm retiring.
So Michael Jordan,
like, why in your prime are you just the greatest player on the earth just walks away?
So did he walk away after all of this with Pippen and Rodman? Then he retired for 2 years for baseball and then came back?
No. So the Last Dance is about the 97-98 season. He left, I think he was gone in like 93-94 to play baseball.
And you think it's to cover up his gambling a little bit, allegedly?
That's one of the rumors, is like David Stern, who was a hands-on commissioner, was like, get out of here for a bit. Weird. So we don't have to go through scandal, but I don't know if that could be debunked. You know, Jameson's in this chat. He probably already knows the 100% truth. He probably has a hotline all the way to Michael Jordan's house. Probably knows what's up. Because Jameson's watched it now, and because he's been texting Nigel and I about the documentary.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And last night he reached out too. He's going through Waco. He's in.
Oh, geez. I'm not.
I finished that. Yeah, Waco. I finished that.
I'm not getting those messages. Yeah. I maybe thinks I'm not on the same playing field. I'm not getting those.
Basketball messages.
I'm not getting the letter pigeon. Or is it carrier pigeons? Whatever. Let's move on.
Jameson said he's in Miami with him right now.
Now, here's something I want to bring up. What do you think about like the daddy issues that are prevalent in like it's clear like Jordan is searching for his dad's approval. Now, his dad was there when he won the championship. He was like right beside him, and his mom was there when he was hugging that trophy.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't know, man. It's always so I don't even know how to describe. I don't know if this is a cultural thing. Like, I don't know if it's because it just seems like a lot of the Black athletes have these issues or these challenges with their parents, with their dad, mainly. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I don't know. Some of their dads aren't around in their lives. Some of them are and push them too hard as a youngster. But then obviously when they grow up, they become champions. You know?
Yeah.
So
according to Space Jam, his dad is a great guy.
Oh yeah. That's true. That's true.
I think
he did it for. I think a lot of his passion and drive comes from his dad. Like, just comes from wanting to have a legacy, wanting to
do something
better than what his dad could do, not from a negative standpoint, but just from a standpoint that he just wanted to give back. You know what I mean? I mean, his mom, let's talk about her as well. His mom's Laura, such a cutie. I mean, when she read the letter from his first year of college, second year of college, I was just dying. Almost came to tears.
That letter was cute. First of all, him saying the letter and just being like, I'm working hard. I do need money. The gym's been great. New friends. Again, I would like some money. And, I've been eating not that much, so maybe send money. And she's like, can you?
And stamps.
Stamps. Yeah. So he can keep writing to his mom to send him money. But
you know what? One of my favorite parts of this documentary is, and it only reminded me because he was like, when he got past the phone and he was watching the letter from his mom. Do you also remember when Phil Jackson and Pippen all got past the phone and were like, watch Isaiah Thomas talk about that time he didn't shake hands.
Yeah. Oh, Isaiah not shaking hands? Okay.
Yeah.
Isaiah, okay.
And then Michael just goes, he's fucking bullshit.
Fucking bullshit. It is bullshit. I thought it was bullshit. And Isaiah going, that's just how we played. I was like, no, you didn't. You're a piece of shit. You're sore losers and you're a piece of full shit. Sorry about it.
Listen, oh man, there was nothing more maddening than being an athlete and being at a certain level. It doesn't even matter what level you're at, to be honest with you. But when the other team, regardless of the outcome, does not shake your hand, and if you beat them, the torch is now being passed and they don't shake your hand after, there's nothing more maddening than that.
But remember, Isaiah's not lying. When they got the torch pass from the Celtics did the exact same.
Celtics did the same thing.
But you know what? Sure. Who cares? They're not the Celtics. They're the Bulls. So
the next thing you got to do after this is watch that 30 for 30 documentary about Detroit, and you'll see, like, you're right. They're the worst, and it's all Bill Laimbeer. If you watch that documentary, it's just this one guy that was for sure a bully his entire life, and he's just a puppet master, guys, and he's like, we're gonna beat the fuck out of everybody.
And Isaiah going, well, Laimbeer told us we weren't gonna shake hands, so Laimbeer said it, so we were gonna do it. I was like, oh really? And I don't care if you're in a 3-piece suit. Don't lie to me. Don't lie to me. And also, like, you want to be big boys and beat the shit out of everyone? Be a big boy and shake everyone's hand. I thought it was just such shit. And then, but listen, there's nothing more impressive. And I honestly I was watching this doc around like 11 o'clock. And when Michael Jordan was like, I wasn't going to get pushed around anymore. And he just starts like lifting weights. And I was like, do I do some squats? Like, I was like, hell yeah. Those montages of them getting in shape and then their trainers talking to them, I was like, oh my God, I wish I could have that.
Yeah.
So those montages are sick too, because if you notice, and I think this is a known fact, but a lot of the songs that they play in according to those montages not only come out the same year that those things are happening, but that's actually the biggest point. Really? Is that those tracks came out in the same year that those things happened. So they use the Beastie Boys, they use Prince, they use LL Cool J, and all those songs came out in that amazing year.
Good years for music.
It's so great. And it's just like, I love seeing Rodman in like a loose pair of pajama pants and a shirt, just like at a full professional basketball player practice. And then the coach is like, what's going on with you? And Michael's like, he's here. And that is the success today.
Let's just walk away from it, coach.
Walk away,
Nobody look him in the eye. Let's just get this drill done.
Milady.
I will say this: Mark Andrade just put in the chat that he has Michael Jordan's rookie baseball card.
Oh,
and of course, Mark Andrade has that.
It's worth at least $20.
But this is the thing too.
That's pretty great.
It's like it's crazy to me. And again, this is just such a dumb fact, but I think it can be applied to our lives, where it's like, I mean, all you have to do is just get focused on one thing, and you will just become good at that thing. Like, being like, okay, I need to get bigger. I'm just going to work out. And then he just got bigger. Like, oh, I'm weak here, so I'm just going to like strengthen this aspect. Like, it seems stupid, but it's like, you're not, these athletes aren't just like, they're naturally gifted, but it's like they have to work at it and refine and evolve and grow.
The discipline, man, that discipline is unbelievable, you know, and he did, he got massive in comparison to what he was before. He got so lean, and then he got quicker. He still, if you watch the footage that they show of his rookie year in '84, he still has the same walk where it just looks like it hurts all the time. He just constantly looks like he's in pain. But he just got so
like
much
he's stepping
better.
on a screw every time. He's like
every time.
Really? Why?
He just got ridiculous. You know?
Swagger.
Yeah.
Do you think I could start
I'm gonna
walking
put screws
like
in my
that?
shoes today and walk around
Yeah.
and be like, now I know I'm a badass.
Andrada just said, "Mom, Stacy coming through." And listen, I will give credit where credit's due, Mark Andrada. Okay, now go home, have some lunch. No, but
Tell
it's
your
just,
mother I'll send back to Pan.
I'll send back to Pam when I want. Don't give her my phone number. I don't know. It's just I'm just so naive to it, but it is just kind of crazy because you just think about especially now like I didn't realize the skill set of like Dennis Rodman. I know the pomp and circumstance of Dennis Rodman. I know like his eccentricities and what I saw in the paper, but like seeing his like dedication and skill set on the court, I was like, oh, so when he's having all these interviews going, no one really knows who I am. I'm like, I believe it. I didn't really understand that. Or like Scottie Pippen was sort of just like a basketball player. Like I think I didn't really understand
it was a different time back then, basketball, because one of the other things that Dennis Rodman, they didn't really focus on, like, yes, good rebounder and high energy guy, just like nonstop. But he was also the guy that was like, would be like the disruptor. Like, there's a guy now that like Lance Stevenson kind of like emulates it a little bit, but he'd be the guy that was like, oh, you're shooting a foul shot, I'm gonna blow in your ear at the time, like just to like fuck you up.
I think
and that didn't happen because you can't blow into someone's ear when they're shooting a foul shot. But like he does things like that too. That was just like, oh, he's just annoying people to get them off their game.
Think Gary Payton called him the fuck up guy because when Dennis Rodman got on the floor and played, he just fucked everything up. He's like, it was great. It was a fantastic compliment.
This might be something. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it was kind of weird that they were like best defensive player, and then they cut to Gary Payton, who's like known as like one of the best defensive players, and he's like that guy fucked everything up. Although I believe it was the year that they won 72 games, they beat Seattle and Gary Payton in the finals.
Ooh, you could be right.
And then you know who else? You know what? So Stacey, this is a thing. Like they won more games than anybody 1 year, and one of the teams that beat them because they only lost 10 games. Was the Toronto Raptors.
That's amazing.
Wow.
I was at that game.
Oh, damn. First of all, let's just like appreciate the artwork in Nigel's house. And I think that that's on an angle for a reason. It's all strategic. Nothing is out of place in this home, and it's gorgeous and wonderful.
We all think that. We look at it, and then he'll walk by and go, oh, and he'll straighten it up. And we have just talked about how amazing
cool it is.
That it's...
It just looks so dope. Okay, here he comes. Oh, do you have the goddamn ring, Nige? Jeez.
Just want to say that.
Christ.
Just want to say, bless. bless.
Oh my God, Nigel. Damn. May I say, damn, Daniel?
Yeah. It's not even a focus. Not even focus.
You'll get it.
It's amazing.
That's you look rich as all hell.
Oh man, I mean, look, it's I'm having a good day.
Oh my God, you look so good.
Audrey just put that the Raptors are also the 2020 champs, and let's just live with that. We all believe that. Yeah. I literally had money on them in Vegas, and I don't know what happens to that money now.
Oh, it goes to Michael Jordan.
It goes to Scottie Pippen just to pay him off. Like, we need to pay up Scottie Pippen.
I do want to talk about, before we get to the end of the podcast, one of the unsung heroes I think so far in the docu-series, and it is the blonde reporter from Chicago, and the cuts that they keep giving to her. Did you see one where she's just fully leaning? She's just fully like extended, like on a pole, and she's laying down, and she's like, I'm trying to find like the angle. Like she's just kind of like this, and she's like, the Raptor, or she's like the Chicago Bulls. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't. Is it Jackie McMullen? Because Jackie McMullen's blonde and she's like the best.
I'll have to look her up and put it on our Instagram. But she's just like,
I don't remember her being in the doc yet.
I should have taken a photo and included it because I was watching it last night. I was like, I think this will go over everyone's head. But she has full blonde bouffant, and her eyes are just really
like
big,
Jackie McMullen.
And she's just like leaning fully on a pole, which she probably would have been like, shoot it, but she was like reclined. The Chicago Bulls are known to play. I was like, I love her.
To be honest, if it is Jackie McMullen, they need to put a doc out about her because she's head and tails above most reporters in basketball, and she's so good. And she probably came up in a pretty rough time to be like a woman reporter.
But I'm wondering why she wasn't included in the docuseries.
I don't know if she wasn't. She probably. I mean, she's talked about it a lot. They definitely talked to her about it because she's.
Maybe they
great.
haven't. I just didn't realize they were the same woman. I don't know.
True.
Anyways, I don't know, but I'm curious to watch the rest of it. Nigel, we'll have to have you on again to like unpack what's going on. But it is.
I'd love to the back half.
Oh, the back half for sure. I'm wondering if they show any of like the devilish sides of Jordan, because they're kind of like not showing that.
It's hard to tell. They do.
Pardon?
I'm pretty sure they do. I'm pretty sure they go into some of the gambling stuff. We'll get a little taste of the friendship between, or the love between him and Kobe. So we'll get into that a little bit. So yeah, there's going to be a lot more stuff that's going to come out. It was a big year. That year was a big year.
Yeah, it's kind of it's sort of crazy when you realize like the blind spots that you have, and I'm like, oh, but like, yeah,
because the All-Star game's coming up, I think, right? That's where they left off. Is that kind of where they left off? Was the All-Star break?
You might be right. I can't remember the ending of.
Because if I'm not wrong, this is the year then that Michael wins the MVP of the All-Star game. But like they had to sit, and this is just from remembering it, so it could be wrong. But like Kobe was new and beating Michael Jordan. Everyone's like, "What are you doing? Like you're really." So the coach basically sat him for the second half of the game because they're like, "This is Michael's game. Like this is his last dance." So
yeah, so this would be '98, I think, right?
Because Kobe joined the Bulls.
Kobe doesn't join the Bulls at all. No, Kobe's a Laker for life.
Oh wow.
Okay. Kobe's one of the last people that are like of that generation and ilk where it's like, I'm gonna stick with the same team, and I'm also gonna like, this is my team, and I'm gonna murder everybody. Like he's got that Jordan mentality.
But like that's the thing. It's like watching this. It's sort of crazy. Like, and I across all platforms of sports, like the trading aspect of it is just weird to me. It makes me sad. It makes me like, I know it's just part of it, but it's like trading people as if they're not human beings, and it's just really strange. And I'm like,
they say that they're selling jerseys. They're gonna start selling jerseys pretty soon. It was at like some convention like a year ago, where you're gonna be able to change the name and the number on the jersey.
I mean, that's
like
smart.
You can program, because it's like they know now. They're like, well, players aren't staying on the same team for more than a couple of years, so you gotta change the name and the number.
Well, that's good for Nigel because he loves a change up. Loves a change up.
Love a good change up. Love a good change up.
I can't believe this whole look and vibe of you today, Nigel. Like,
do one of these.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Do you want a full screen? Oh, Adam just said.
No, I don't want a full screen.
Did you just hear this? It's a new alert from Adam Colley. DeRoss has just been traded to Detroit main stage.
I actually love that. Follow some of the greats.
Yeah, you will.
Tim.
Yeah. So, what are your final thoughts? Would you say on the series so far, guys?
I will say it's phenomenal. Like it's a fun watch. There's a lot of great insight. It basically holds your hand through this journey. It's the trickiest part I found so far is just the transition. Like they go from present day, so like in the 97-98 season, and then they'll go back all of a sudden to like the 70s or the 80s or whatever, because Chicago from the early 80s before Jordan was brutal. But anyways, so I think that's probably the hardest part for anybody to really pick up visually. But other than that, it's a fantastic watch. It's I think it's really, really fun. I love it.
I'm really curious to see what's coming, because so far, if you've noticed, they're kind of doing like, they know that they're getting people that don't necessarily have the 90s references and stuff like that. So they're introducing you to every character, and they're not doing it specifically by episode, but first it was Pippen, then it was Rodman, then it was Phil Jackson, and they're going through sort of the main players and like showing you their story of how they get there and they become this like Voltron of a character. So I just don't know how far they're going to deep dive, because those are most of the main players. Like I don't know if they're going to go into Ron Harper and let you know about him, because I don't know what they're going to do. So it's very exciting to see. Like the next is probably going to be, I think, Dream Team, All-Star break. They're going to have to talk about like,
I mean, they do touch on Harper though early, eh? They did.
Harper was great when he was
on the other team though, but yeah.
So Stacey, I don't know if you remember this moment, but they were like, Jordan, when he won it the first time, they beat Phoenix, and he does this shot over Craig Elo, who they cut it so well.
I'm sorry, my dog's trying to dig through the carpet. Give me 1 second here, Vic.
It was Cleveland.
Cleveland.
You said Phoenix, yeah.
Oh, I thought it was. Why is my brain all messed up then?
I don't know, it was Cleveland because they had a guy.
It was Eastern Conference.
Yeah, dude named Ego. That was. But anyways, continue. It was Cleveland.
Yeah, it was Cleveland. I'm an idiot, of course, because Robin Harper played for Cleveland. But they go to they cut to it because the very last shot they're like, well, we know we're going to Jordan, and they put this guy named Craig Elo on, who's just like, they show pictures of him and it just looks like he looks like he's scared walking around the court. And then they cut to Ron Harper, who's their sort of like star player, who was like compared to almost a Michael Jordan at one point during his career. And then the coach was like, no, you don't defend him. And they cut to him and nowadays in the thing, and he's like, this is bullshit.
This is bullshit. No, that was the coolest moment where I was like, I'm never going to be as cool as that guy. This is bullshit. I truly think like, just some of the, like them just all the players just sucking it up and being like, whatever, what are you going to do? Like even Scottie Pippen being like, why are you coming back to the Bulls? You said you never would. And goes, well, I didn't think there was much point really just fighting it. So I'm back. I was like, okay. If there's one takeaway
up, and like maybe I'm wrong, but at the time I don't remember that being like the hugest of deals.
Neither do I. Yeah,
because that Pippen was out, and they're like, "Great, you're gonna lose a few games." Because Stacey, you said this last time before 3 and 4 came out and showed you like they didn't lose a lot of games still without Pippen. They started the season off poorly, but then all of a sudden it was like, "Oh, now we're playing together again," and they were winning without him anyways.
I just think it's shitty. Like he got a raw deal. I know why he took that deal. I think all of us in that same position would have taken that deal. So that just kind of sucks.
He was advised against it. They were like, you're not betting on yourself. But he was like, he rolled the dice of the safety dice. He was like, if I get injured or something, then I get $0 in 3 years.
Yeah.
So like, I'll take this deal.
I wonder what his net worth is now.
I thought you were going to look it up. You were like, I'm going to look it up.
I mean, we could by the end. I will say if there's one takeaway right now, halfway through this whole series, that is a takeaway for me is like, you know, obviously we're all in quarantine. We're losing our minds. And I think the attitude we need is just like Pippen when Rodman takes him down in that one game and he just gets smoked to the ground and he stands up and then crushes the game. I was like, that's my new vibe. Yeah. It was the coolest thing I've ever seen. And I was like, I gotta start getting chill. Because if
you knew basketball, it was huge because like that was completely not allowed at that time, but in the 90s, these players that they weren't injured a lot more is crazy because nowadays the whistle gets blown if you touch LeBron James because they're like, they realize the assets they have.
You know what?
You have LeBron out for a season.
Well, that's the thing. That season of Detroit was crazy because like, you know,
that wasn't just Detroit. That's like the 70s, 80s, 90s. That's like old basketball.
But what I thought was interesting was I can't remember which player said it, but they were like, "Oh, back then refs weren't checking in on on our star players, like making sure like Jordan was okay," which confirms my feeling that the fix is in. When you watch games, you're just like, the fix is in. They don't care. Like this is set up. The fix is in it, but it wasn't in back then. But maybe it was. I don't know. Pretty dirty play though.
Oh yeah, the fix is in now, but it's like no. They're like, yeah, we'll give the star players star calls because we want to keep them safe. We don't want them to walk away with a broken ankle.
Okay, so here's the thing. Oh, damn it. Okay, Scottie Pippen. Okay, this is all on the internet. So like the internet says my net worth is $6 million, as if whatever give me diarrhea. That's not even not true. So I'm taking this all with a grain of salt. Dennis Rodman. Okay. As of 2020, Dennis Rodman's net worth is roughly $500,000.
500,000?
That can't be true.
I mean, maybe.
That can't be true, right?
That guy could spend a year just speaking to people and he'd make that money, no problem.
Okay, now I did look up Scottie Pippen net worth. Here's also the suggested Google searches, okay? Just before we end this. Scottie Pippen, how many baby mamas does Scottie Pippen have? It's just one thing that is often searched. 7. Answer. 7. Whoa.
It's crazy that you like, what is this guy's net worth? How many baby mamas does he have?
First of all,
like that's not what we're talking about.
Was anyone expecting 7 though?
Okay, yeah. I just want to make sure that we're clear. Scottie has 7 baby mamas. So just so you guys know, Dennis Rodman's dad, his dad's name is Philander.
Okay.
Philander Rodman, and he has 29 kids.
I mean, what's happening? That's crazy. Scottie.
That's like 5 basketball teams.
Okay, Scottie Pippen's net worth is $30 to $50 million.
He could set up a small league himself and just be like this. If he was LeVar Ball, he'd be like, I have my own league and it's all my sons.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that's sad if Rodman is only worth $500,000.
Yeah, he's got a kid too. His kid just finished college, Washington or Washington
I don't
State.
believe this. There's no way. There's no way.
Yeah, Stacey's worth $6 million and Rodman's worth 500,000. This is
I honestly want to do a full podcast where we just look up. He lost all of his money. Yeah, Dennis Rodman lost all of his money. Everyone is saying $500,000.
Shoot.
And they're saying Scotty is worth, as of 2020, $50 million. Crazy.
Scotty getting paid. Well, Scotty's not going to Vegas and driving around. Like in the documentary, he chugs a beer and then gets on a bike. He's like, see you later.
So aggressive. What an aggressive move. I'm out.
And it's crazy, all the people he's hanging out with. It's not like Carmen Electra's there, but everybody else is just some like old short white guy with long hair. And they're just like, we're with Dennis Rodman. Like that's the whole vibe. He paid for everyone's drinks for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but that's what's sad. Like when you see like Rodman living that life in Vegas, like it just gave me a pit, and I just knew that money wasn't gonna last forever. There was just no way.
True.
It's
It
true.
did make me want to be there.
Cool. I also love how all the basketball players, like all like the white old basketball players, look like accountants or guys who are like, you got to see this backyard. I dug up the pool myself, and then all
Well,
like
not Paxton. Paxton looks like a drywall contractor.
totally Pax, our boy Pax.
Yeah, but you see Bill Cartwright? Bill Cartwright just looks like a substitute teacher.
Yeah.
Wait, was he like the really tall guy with the huge broad shoulders, and he's wearing an NBA shirt that says like NBA cares? And he's like,
That's probably him.
but he didn't fit into his chair. Like he just kind of sat like this.
Although it seems like you're talking about Phil Jackson.
Yeah, I kind of
No.
like
Phil Jackson looks like Jermaine Clement from Flight of the Conchords.
Phil Jackson looks like he has a coat hanger in his jacket still whenever he wears it.
Yeah. Yeah, his shoulders are crazy. Like his neck and then his shoulders just go straight out.
It's awesome.
I've never, before this documentary, never seen Phil Jackson's playing days. And I was like, why is that massive Guinness World Book of Records skeleton running around in the court? Because that's insane.
He truly looks like one of those used sales car, like those like inflatable, like woo, like those huge guys. I was like, he's so big. Anywhoosies, Nigel, I'm gonna put up a little screen with all of your like didgeridoos. So everyone follow Nigel on Twitter and Instagram. Soon he will have a style Instagram that I will promote, and we all need to follow that. So let me just like fix this up here. So everyone follow. Where else can they follow you? BitPlayers?
Yeah, BitPlayers, CBC Gem. I mean, check that out, please and thank you. That'd be fantastic. Jay makes a little cameo in there. So
Tiny.
yeah. Let's make it
with Chris and Chris Sadiki's in it. Chris Sadiki also.
Everyone watch BitPlayers. I'll put all the things to follow down below. Well, thank you so much for this chat. We will have you back, of course, to finish off the series.
Thank you.
If you're listening to this and you're like, wow, there were sound effects and Nigel seemed to surprise us with GIFs. He did, visual GIFs. So you can watch it on YouTube at youtube.com/theregulars. We go live weekdays, 12:30.
This is what I was waiting for, Nige.
What's that?
The Raptors.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I have it. Ah, dang, I'm fucked up.
Listen,
I mean,
we have time for one more if you so choose, but I don't want to force it.
Yeah, let's not force it.
Okay, we're not going to force it.
Where it is.
Okay, he can't remember where it is. So he's going to bring it back. But you can watch us on YouTube. And also, if you're listening to this, guess what? It's not too late. We keep them up on our YouTube channel, so you can go back. Anything else, Jay, before we leave?
Tomorrow we've got Adam Colley if you want to talk about some health. And then we've got, of course, Casual Friday on Friday.
Yes, so tomorrow we have Adam Colley. We're going to try and ruin him because Jason and I are gluttons. And we will try and...
And I'll say this, too, just about that, because Adam's been chiming in on the talk because he is so about salary cap and stuff in these games. He'll probably want to talk about that too.
Okay, well, we'll see if I have room for it. I'm really depressed for this Dennis Rodman thing. So everyone, and also if you had a good time and you're watching this, before you leave, why don't you like it? Because that's always nice. And then that tells people, hey, you should watch this. People have already liked it. And other than that, we will see you all tomorrow. And Nigel, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Bye, friends.
Bye.